Hey there, outliers. Niiamah Shang here, and it brings me great joy. I can feel it coming out of me. It brings me great joy to be in space with you and to be here with you in this conversation. Well, we have an incredible outliers roundtable here where we have brought in awesome outliers to show how they take on leadership as well as uncertainty and opportunity in the world that we're living in right now. And so I want you to get a chance to get to know each of these outliers, and we'll start off the roundtable from there. Punit, why don't you bring us into this conversation? Would you mind sharing more about you and the game you're currently playing?
Sure. My name is Punit Bhatia, and I'm an entrepreneur who helps companies with data privacy, sourcing, AI governance, and things like that. So essentially, these are complex matters, and the game I'm playing is simplifying the complex for everyone.
Like it. I like it a lot. Like I've been finding myself leaning more into simplicity, especially now as I got two young kids, and I used to revel in the complex, and now I'm like, oh, the game is actually in the simplicity that comes afterwards. So, Punet, I'm very excited to explore that with you here today. Thanks for being
Thanks
here.
for having me.
Yeah. And Caleb, why don't you let us know more about you and the game you're playing?
I'm Caleb Andrews. I'm the pastor of Abundant Grace Church in Sparta, Tennessee. And my call is to raise up leaders in their faith and to train them in different things so that way they can raise up their families, raise up things in their lives, and have a better experience with their walk with God and just the better experience in their lives.
Y'all, we got two heavy hitters here today's conversation, so I'm excited for it. Let's start off here in this conversation. I'd like to start off with a question here to understand a bit about how each of you see the world. So I'll ask each of you individually first here, and then we'll see. We'll just kind of like let things grow from there. But Puna, let's start with you. What's a belief that you have that very few other people would agree with you on, but you know it to be true?
I think there's always a debate about free will versus destiny. Most people resign to its destiny. But what I believe in is there's a lot of free will component and very little of destiny. And whenever I have a debate, people tend to fall or hide behind God. But end of the day, the God is inside you, and you have a lot of free will and destiny. It's all energy. Don't try to hide behind a name.
All right, thanks for bringing that one in, Punnett. How about you, Caleb? What's something that most people wouldn't agree with you on, but you know to be true?
Um, I would say it's having the free choice is actually, as he said, that we do have a lot of free choice, but many people want to declare, well, God's doing this, God's doing that, or things of that nature. But a lot of it, like he said, is free choice. It's many times what we find is the reward of our choice, and we need to make sure that when we do choose, that we're choosing the right thing and weighing things out. We're not jumping into things very easily or very quickly, but we're taking time to assess, judge things accurately, and making sure that we are following the that free will in our life, but we're following the right direction. And I would also say that part of that is following your belief system. Of course, my belief system is God, and so I would follow Him. But many others they may follow their own thing. But we need to make sure we're making the right choices, no matter which choice that we do.
I would agree with you 100%. I think end of the day, when you start, you have a full free will, but you may keep
Mhm.
making choices. Then later on, by the time you are smart enough or intelligent enough or wise enough to understand these things, you made so many choices. It's the result of those choices and the now. And you tend to
Mhm.
be now short my childish and say, ah, it's a result of this, I did this, and hence the
Mhm.
God component comes in or the destiny component comes in. No, 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 it's not. It's the sequence or the series of things which you have done accumulating into plus this new one. So the new one doesn't stand isolated. It's a sum total of all the actions, choices you have done. And of course, a lot of things matter in terms of the environment you've been in, the people you've talked to, the family you were born in. And of course, that's the element of surprise or miracle. Why was I born in this family? Why was I having this country or not that country? Why was I rich or not? I was poor or not? Those are the components that are the mystery or the miracle. But beyond it, you have the free will. Now, nobody has ever been in the past life and come here and said that's what I was in the past, or nobody has gone in the future life, in post life and said I've come back. The unfortunate or fortunate situation is we are here and we are here, and we don't know what happens after, and what we don't know what happened before. So, and the mystery is created by before and after. Like, you make choices, you go to hell and all. Well, for me, the hell is here, the heaven is here, everything is here. Yes, there is something after, but nobody knows what that is.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a matter of faith. It's like you can put your faith in something or somebody, and when you do that, I mean, you're going to re reap the reward of putting your faith into that, no matter what that outcome is. So I would agree with that. It's one of those things where we must put our faith in the right things, and if we're not careful, then we put our faith in the wrong things, and sometimes it may be a little too late by the time that we learn that it's been the wrong thing. And I think a lot of that, like you said, is based on maturity. As we mature in different things, mature in our faith, mature in different things of life, I think that will help us have the wisdom and intelligence to keep moving forward. But as much as we may want to go back and change things, we're limited to that to a degree. We can go back and change some things, but many of those times we'll find ourselves that we keep moving forward by our choices. So it's even more important for us to rely on our faith and faith in certain people. Because some people you put your faith into them and they'll, try and bite your hand or hurt you. The other people you put your faith in, they're lifelong friends. So it's also, with that same mindset, if we put our faith in a God or put our faith in other people around us, it's going to help build us up. So we got to be mindful, have a discernment of, where we put our faith and make sure we're not putting our faith in the wrong things as well.
And this y'all have
Absolutely.
started us off in a really fun way here. Like I really I appreciate the two of you really like honestly just being in this conversation and the way that you're navigating it. It's really quite lovely. Some of the things that as you're saying, I'm thinking about the outliers and trailblazers that are listening, and there's the element of faith, destiny, and free will have all like kind of come in, and choice, right? Those four things
Yeah.
have
Mhm.
all come in like right off the bat. See, outliers, we don't mess around, right? And so the thing that comes for me is I'd love to speak to probably two places. Right now, what I'm thinking about is like the trailblazer, the maverick out there, the person who's like building something that like hasn't been done, or at least they haven't seen it been done, or has or like their belief in self is wavering, or they're looking for the faith. They have faith that they're like I I've seen evidence that this is the path. I haven't actually been to like the island, but I can see evidence of something coming here. I would love to root this through the lens of choices and decisions, right? When you two are going through and bringing out something that requires deeper faith or deep or like you've seen evidence and you have it hasn't actually been brought out to life, how do you all continue as leaders to make your choices and decisions? What frameworks do you use? How do you think about it? Really curious about how you approach that. And if you want to start us off on that.
You want to start this time?
Yeah, I can start. I think of, what part of my faith is, of course, in the Bible, but there's the seed time and harvest. So what you sow in, that's what you're going to reap. And so I think it's important to make sure that you're sowing the right things in the right season, that sowing the right seed even, and sowing those right things, that there's going to come a time that that harvest will come to pass. And, even in the dry seasons when it seems like nothing's growing, nothing's happening, but if we keep believing that we've sown those seeds, we know that we've sown good things in good ground at the right time, that there will come a harvest in that, even though it may seem like it never will to our natural mind or even our emotions. Sometimes we have to speak to those emotions and say, no, I know that I planted that. I planted good stuff. This is in my life. I planted at the right time, at the right season, however you want to say that. I know that there will come a harvest in that. And then we wait for that harvest to start coming to fruition in our life. And many times that's, I would say the grace in our life that happens to keep those things going, but it has that grit, that determination of knowing that you planted, that you or will reap that harvest because you've planted.
I think very well said. It's the grace. And I like to emphasize in three dimensions, maybe. One, sometimes people tend to underestimate themselves and overestimate a superpower which they name in different religions differently. And that's where it goes wrong. You are as much a superpower as the other one. Of course, it's like the ocean. You are the drop, and that's the ocean combining all of us. So don't have the ego to say, I'm the ocean. You are the drop. but you have the same components, same elements, and everything. But people tend to forget that, and hence they overrate faith and trust and everything, and that's where it becomes difficult. Because on one hand, all around you, and you talk about outliers, not everyone understands. Everyone is pushing. I mean, all the religions are teaching the right thing, but all the people in those religions have interpreted those things in the wrong way. It's some, and I will not say everybody, it's some people, some pastors, some priests, some gurus are telling you the right thing, but those are very few because it's a difficult concept. Actually, it's an easy concept, but over the generations, it has been complicated. And that's where the complexity is when you're navigating a tough path. So the complexity is not in the philosophy, not in the reality, not in that. Because you hear so much and you tend to think, the human mind, it thinks if 10 people are saying it, it must be right. But here the contrarian view is 1,000 or 10,000 people have got it wrong and one has got it right. And it's difficult to find that one.
Mm.
So that's where it goes wrong. Second, about navigating, it's not easy because of what I said earlier. And also, as a human, you tend to fall back, you tend to fear. I'll give you an example. The universe is always working for you. I call it universe, you can call it God, you can call it Jesus, you can call it any name. It's always working for you. Now you say, how is it working for me when I'm losing my job, when some person is dying, when I'm going through illness? Well, no. I give you a very practical example. A few years ago, I wanted to quit my job and become a businessman. Now, it's simple, but I don't want to lose the income of a job. Now I have two desires, both conflicting. Who's creating it? Me. Want to go somewhere but don't want to leave something. Now, if there's not an empty spot, how can a new car park? So the old one has to go. So, guess what? I go through a tough time, 12, 18 months, maybe more. And then eventually I'm getting fired. And when I'm getting fired, if I look at it the negative way or the view number one, the 999 people out of 1,000, oh, I'm fired, God is not there, I have no faith, I'm losing this and I'm losing. But that moment, this time, I was lucky enough to say, I think something is transforming. My life is taking a direction. So people would call me, how's it? Are you finding job? I would say, I don't know. I'm at the turn of a road. I don't know what I'm seeing on the end of the road, but I know I'm going somewhere and the universe is moving for me. Fine. And then I'm an entrepreneur now. Is it easy? No. But let's not talk now. Let's talk then because we can reflect on it 6 years, 7 years later. So the universe was conspiring or working for me, whichever word you like, to get me out of the job and move me into entrepreneurship. But the silly me wants to stick to the job while he wants this. It's like a child. He wants the new toy but wants to hold on to the old one. So, what the children do, they throw the old one or hide the old one. That's what the universe did. But for to do that, in this situation, it had to get me fired. Because unless and until I do that, I will remain in that conflict. And the universe is solving the conflict. Now I can curse it, and then it works contrarian to me and it will not give me what I want, or I can praise it. Now I didn't know how to praise it, but I said something is going on because I had acquired this knowledge. Something is going on, life is turning in a good way. So that's the second part. Life is always working for you in your wishes as long as they are clear, because 99%, I do this exercise with many people. I say, okay, if the God you believe in would stand in front of you, what the life would be, what would you ask? Well, I will have to think. And I said, he's giving you the time to think. Then there are some people who will say, I think no problem. I said, is it possible to have a life with no problem? No, a few problems. And I said, do you have a few problems or a lot? A few. Are you better than others or not? Yes. So I said, he's fulfilling your wish. And then say, what do you ask? I said, I will ask him what I wished in the morning, the 5 things, because I wish them consistently. Just give me that. And he says, how will he know? I said, written it in a paper. He can read it and I can read it out for him if he's not capable of reading a paper. Because if the God is the God I believe in, he's with me all the time, even when I'm writing, even when I'm reading, and even when I'm executing. So all I ask is, these are the things I want to do, guide me on what I have to do. And then of course the stupid human in me, sometimes egoistic guy, comes in and says, I have to make it work, and that's where it goes wrong. So that's the second thing. And the third thing is, now what I'm telling you in point one and point two, point meaning with the world we are in and the world we need to be, and second, the things that our universe is working for us. Due to lack of wisdom, most people are not able to grasp this. And when they're not able to grasp this, they tend to go into two or three models. One is the God doesn't exist. Okay, fine, your choice. Second, the God exists. Let me ask him and let me do a business with him. If you do this, I will do this for you. I will come to you on Sunday and I'll do this. I'll come on this day, I'll do this charity. And then that's not the real definition of God. Indeed, and they are still lost. And the third one is it's a miracle. Just go through it, enjoy it, have fun, be clear on what you want to do. Some things will go for you, some things we won't. Like, even if I say, okay, I've acquired everything and everything, why are things not going for me? Because I have that history of when I didn't know this, and that history is still having to reap. You talked about the grace has to reward me for the seeds I have sown when I was not wise enough to sow the right seeds in the right season. So they still have to give me the yield, and it's in all cases. So it happens consciously, subconsciously, or unconsciously, that doesn't matter. So three things: one, the understanding of God is skewed; two, the universe is always working for you; and three, most people don't have the wisdom to understand this, and hence life is complex. But let me assure you, even if you know this, when you're going through the time, it takes courage and it takes doubt, and you have that doubt. But if you can overcome the doubt and fear, then you have the magic.
So we'll talk about the courage and the doubt in just a bit here. You brought in some things in Pune. You brought it in with a pastor on in the conversation. So I want to make sure that like Caleb, you get some chance to not respond, but like to also put your things in here. I think we're able to. I'm actually really grateful because now outliers get to have a like a more well-rounded viewpoint of this all here. Anything you want to say or expand on that, Caleb?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that, my faith in God has really blessed me. There's been times where I didn't know, kind of like what he was saying is, you get led maybe certain paths or you make a certain choice. And then there was times where I didn't really know how this was going to play out. And my faith in God actually, uh, you know, searching in the Bible, studying, being led by the Holy Spirit that would lead me in different directions. And it's actually been a blessing to my life. It wouldn't be an audible voice that I would hear, but it'd be an inner knowing of just, walking with God, having that relationship with Him. But I mean, I do agree. It does take, courage because in that seed time and harvest, even if we do sow bad things, we've got to be careful that even in those moments that if we realize, oh man, I've sowed some bad seed in my life, that we, for me and for, certain faiths, we would, cry out to God to say, God, help me. I pray that this harvest does not come to pass because you saw my ignorance, you saw my immaturity, you saw what I did in this, may this not come to pass in my life. But then that gives us maybe an opportunity to sow good seed back into our life, back into the things that we're doing, and give all the glory and the honor for God. But I think it really is all everything that I think that we're talking about today even centers around maturity and having that courage and to keep going, that fight, that grit, that motivation. And that's one thing I encourage, and the people, that I pastor, but also I'm a supervisor outside of that as well in a private company. But I try to teach them to keep going, to keep, don't let things get you down. Don't let, things trip you up, but to have that motivation is, what you're doing as long as you know, okay, I'm doing this right thing, I'm doing this, and you keep pushing through, that you will have that harvest in your life and it will be a blessing to you. But it's just keeping that kind of faith, knowing that it will come through. And I supervise, different levels of people that, some are Christian, some are not, some are, different, faiths and things of that nature. So being able to, balance that of knowing that if people have faith and not only in themselves, but in their religion, which for me would be Jesus Christ, God the Father, but having that, it helps give you a sense of direction, a sense of knowing that, especially me as a pastor, I tell my people that God has a plan and a purpose for you and he has a vision, and that would help you, not only motivate you to keep going, but knowing that you're part of something bigger. And I think that even, with um, the outliers, I think that that would realize that what you're doing is something bigger than just yourself. Sometimes I can apply that to, religion, but we can also apply that to, corporations, to, different things like that. What you're doing is not just your vision. It may be a vision, it may be coming out of you, coming from you, but it will be for a bigger purpose and not, sometimes making money. It's helping those that are in need, whether it's a service, whether it's a product. You're helping on a bigger scale, and it's not just you. So keep having that faith in you, your product, and for religion to be your God, having those faith moments that you keep motivated and doing what you know to do, doing what you're called to do, as I would say. So, but I mean, that's having that really does take courage and grit, and that sometimes, as I would say in this day and age, is not easily found, and sometimes you've got to dig in yourself to do that. So yeah, that's one of the toughest things I would say in modern times is having that grit, that fight about you.
Well, I appreciate both of you here. It's really great hearing like how you all think about this and see how it's applying to your leadership and your decision making. I'm gonna ask here for like let's for the rest of the conversation, we'll take like religion out of the conversation. That would be like for here, but I thank you both for doing a few different things before going to that. One of my most important things for me is uh how both of you walked this conversation and like was able to have space for religion to actually come into conversation and still be like rooted in leadership, rooted in growth, like and hold multiple like places in faith. Like the thing about outliers, like we're often multidisciplinary. We have different things that are growing with us. And I live in the U.S. and so there's sometimes where it feels like, hey, like if we walk into conversations that aren't like necessarily clear cut, there's only one way to go about doing it. And you two in this conversation, it wasn't set up this way. I promise you, outliers. Like, but you demonstrated again, how much room we have to be able to lead and to grow and to hear the places of both difference and commonality in toward the same goal. And so I just really wanted to say thank you here. Like um, I I enjoyed it. I'm going to move the conversation a little bit in a different direction just so that y'all don't have to go in there, but just know that I feel honored in the way that the both of you showed up. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
So we've come to a place of courage, of grit, and I think about courage and grit in the context of our current landscape. So right now, as we were recording this video, it's in the middle of 2025. People are about to go into the summer here, and I think about an element of uncertainty right now, and so I'm curious about like I think like courage. Well, let's say this. I feel like you probably don't need courage when you're not doing things that are uncertain. If you know how this is going to work out, if it's your 30th rodeo, you have confidence. You don't need courage, right? But as we move into things that are less certain, I'm curious about how each of you are looking at it both from an individual perspective as well as how you lead the people that come along with you, whether it's your clients, your team, or like your congregation. Let's go with Caleb on this one. Would you mind getting us started on that, and then we'll go to you, Punit?
Oh, yes, sir. So I think that I find with some of the people that I supervise, but also that I pastor, we have people get sidetracked. There's an easy way to be burdened and to have a give up mentality or I would also say it's at times a victim mindset. And part of what I like to do as myself and for my family, but also as a leader in multiple capacities, is just to let people know, look, the quit shouldn't be an option. Quit shouldn't be an option. You take quit off the table and you'll find your resolution. You'll find your answers when you take quit off the table. Because as long as quit is on the table, that's what you'll focus on. And I think that having that grit, that determination, it's got to be something that comes in you, and you've got to have a determination. And it's not always easy to stir up or to, motivate yourself many times. But and especially in something new, sometimes we lack motivation because we lack, confidence. We lack maybe I don't know all the answers, maybe I don't have this, maybe I don't have that. And but it's up to us as kind of going back a little bit of what we said earlier, it's our choice of are we going to let that be our excuse or are we going to dive in to learn things to grow, to build our confidence, to build that grit and determination of no, I know what I'm talking about. I know I may not know everything, but I've done my homework, I've paid my dues and keep pioneering that, keep trailblazing and doing things that we know that we can do, that we're capable of, and we must constantly feed on learning and growing, because if we don't, that's where room for fear, doubt, unbelief, things like that will start coming in, and it will make you less at your job. It will make you less of a leader. It will take that fight out of you. And so, even my time in the military, that when I was in there, they kept us training, kept us knowledgeable of what we were doing, what we were supposed to do. And so in that, it built our confidence of saying, I know what to do. So when things would happen, we would react without even thinking. And good leaders will have their people continue to do that. You keep training, you keep doing, not just things that may seem minuscule, but things that they know, okay, at the end of this, I'm going to be able to push through because it's in me, my training, it's in me, and I know, okay, it's just got to come out of me. So that's kind of the way that I see that kind of motivation and grit.
In my view, I think I see it in two parts most likely. First part is when we are facing a challenge or a situation in which we are doubtful, we are not certain. First thing to realize is you're never certain. The only thing is when you're in good times, you're in that flow and you're not paying attention. But anytime you're not certain. Take an example. I was coming to this podcast. I know it's an outliers podcast. I don't know what we're going to talk. Now, we're talking philosophy, we're talking religion, we're talking God, we're talking leadership, we're talking who we are, everything combined. Now, can I be certain? No. But in my mind, I was convinced, okay, it's a podcast, what can go wrong? So I have convinced myself in a fantasy or an illusion. Yeah. Okay. Or I'm comfortable being in the podcast. Now put me in another situation with a client. There are only three things that can happen. One, they'll give me work, one, they will not give me work. And that's a challenging situation. If I pay attention to not giving me work, I will not do my best, and then anyways, they will not give me work. And the third situation is maybe they will delay and all that and all that. But anyways, it's still a choice. So courage is a question or an issue when we don't know and we're focused on a very minuscule time bound outcome in that situation. I'm looking for a job and I'm not finding a job, and I want to find a job and it has been 6 months and I need courage. But if you look back, take a step back and say, okay, I'm not finding a job. Look back at like my last 10 years, 15 years. I have had a job, I've done a decent job, I've been above average, I have not stolen anybody's thing, and I have not killed anybody. So the chances, and even those who have, they've also found a job sooner or later. So what is it? It's a matter of time. The uncertainty part is I don't know how much time it is. Is it 1 month or is it 1 year? Or maybe it's two, or maybe it's 2.5. That's the uncertainty. But when you in the micro thing, I'm not finding a job, you make it an eternity thing. And that creates the conflict. So the courage is sometimes an issue when you're missing the perspective in things. Or sometimes like when I lost my job and I was looking for to be an entrepreneur. Oh, and I went through that. Oh, I have this much of reserve, I can survive this many years. What will happen? But those years have not passed. I have not succeeded or failed in the entrepreneurship. I have not even started. So it's all the drama that or the melodrama that happens in the mind that creates that question. So the way out is take a step back, look at the macro. Maybe in some cases, like philosophers or psychologists say, write down the worst case, what can it be? Okay. And then say, what would be my options? What are the two, three, five options? Can I survive or would I die? But and anyways, if you die, then there's no problem because there's nothing to worry. So all the problems are for because we are alive and we have some aspirations and we have some dreams and we want to go in that direction, or we're going into a situation which we don't want to go. So both ways it's a problem. I don't want this and I'm having this. I want this and I'm not having this. But both are self-created. If you take a step back, look at the macro picture, in the long term all of us are dead, so no problem at all. And we don't know what happens after that. Of course there's a lot of philosophy and religion around that, but in the long term we are all dead, and in the short term all problems will be solved. I don't have a job, I will find a job. The uncertainty is when, and uncertainty is which one. Because if I know that which one, I will go to that one and I will just say, hey, I'm here, and he or she will give me the job. But I don't know, and for that I have to go through the process, go through, as you rightly said, the grind. So when you're going through the grind, focus on the outcome you want, take a macro view, and appreciate or be grateful for what you have right now. And when you do that, you will be able to run through. And the same thing applies to the second part of your question, how do you manage people? It's the same thing. There's a person, he's not doing what I want him to do. Choices are very simple. Easy option, fire him. Simple, problem done. New problem, who do I work with? Who do I hire? If you're willing to have that, if you know you can't make it work with him, fire him, find a new one. You don't want to fire, you want to keep him, then do that happily. Train them, guide them, coach them, work with them, and help them. And if both of them are stressful for you, stop being a manager. Very simple. Be an individual. So if you simplify like that, then it's easy. I know you're a little bit smiling or laughing at my thing, but that's as simple as that. If you want
Hmm.
to manage,
That's
there
true.
will be two problems. They will not do the work as you do, so you have to guide them, or you have to fire them, and then you have to hire them. There's no third situation. There will never ever be a perfect person like me who does the work exactly like me, the way thinks like me, because then I am taken, and then not the position of me existing. So I will not be able to find me. I can find people who I want. They can be close or not, but I have to live with them. And that's the same in everything, even relationships and everything. But your question was in managing people. So managing people, manage like that. And yes, it's frustrating. Yes, it's annoying. Yes, it's something like crazy person doesn't even know how to write this. Even there are grammatical mistakes happened an hour ago. And I was like, okay, what are my choices? Keep, retain, fire, retrain. Those are the three options. So if you look at it at micro level and you know your choices, so choices are sometimes you say, no, I'm not going to fire, I'm going to try once more. So it's a choice you have made. So be proud of the choice you have made rather than being guilty. And if it's giving you stress, if it's stopping your energy from flowing, make the choice, change the choice.
I am y'all have me smiling. So Punit, that smile that came because I you said something that just really lit me up. I enjoy the simplicity of it because I like when you did it, I was like, yeah, that's kind of it, like it's like
That's true.
and we were saying earlier, you said earlier, like that you're really good at taking the complex and making it simple, right? And I think that there is an element to uh, the uncertainty, to the element of how do we move forward, that actually can oftentimes be broken down into like just its simplest complex components. It's like regardless of what you're thinking, at the end of the day, there's probably one or two different choices that can be made, right? And so like, and each of them, none of them are great, in one variation of it, but you can make it good given what you've chosen to go with it. So there is something in there, Punit, that is like um I love when things are able to be distilled down to it. And sometimes it can like, yeah, there's something very confronting about it. And I think that's the other thing that I really enjoy, which is like, oh, we got to be confronted with the decision. We got to be confronted with the choice here, and then make our moves from there. Caleb, anything flowing from you from that?
Yeah, I would actually, as he was talking, made me think of a saying that I heard a guy say one time. He said, "To be great, you must rub elbows with greatness." And so to have that, mentality of not only challenging yourself to be around great people, but it also works in the reverse of that. If you want others to bring them up and to be a leader, you've got to be around them. You've got to, help train them. And kind of in our circles, we call that discipleship, but training and leading them and actually getting to help them understand. Because many times people, if they can't catch the heart, they can't run with it. And so that's really the heart of being a true leader is you're not only sharing your heart of who you are, but you're sharing the heart of what's the goal, what's the accomplishment, what are we seeking to do? And when you can accurately do that, then you write the vision, so to speak, and make it plain. Then people can catch that and they can run with it. And I think that that speaks volumes of proper leadership because now especially in today's time you have many people that's not everybody but you have many people that just want to say do this do that do this do this and it becomes almost legalistic where they're just following the letter of a law and even on a job site, well, why do we do this? I don't know. Well, why do we do that? I don't know. It's just what we're supposed to do. And you trip people up by just teaching them the letter of the law, so to speak. But when they can catch the heart of it, well, we do this because somebody got hurt, so we do this. And so they catch the heart of, oh, there's safety in that. That helps me and helps everybody around it. So it propels the vision even further and helps the people catch the heart of it and accomplish more when you can catch the heart of things behind it. But that's part of being that true leader, is letting people catch the heart of things and not just commanding them and micromanaging. But as he said, when you simplify things, you're taking a lot of the vain imaginations, a lot of the things out of it, and you're giving somebody something to focus on where they know exactly what's expected of them. They know exactly how to handle things, and that's going to make things run a lot smoother. As military, we used to say, smooth, say smooth is fast, fast is smooth. And so, he'd have that kind of mentality of, as long as you slow is smooth, smooth is fast. That's it. And so when we'd have that mentality, it would help us to learn, okay, we're not going to catch this overnight and just take off running. It's going to be a little bit at a time. And the more that you get to know the process, the faster you'll be at it. And I think that goes throughout all leadership, is once they kind of key in on what their leadership style and how they're to lead, then they can, replicate not just themselves, but they can let people be themselves, but catch the heart of things and be able to add their part to the local body, the local organism of what's being built and what's being accomplished.
I'm really grateful for both of you here. I think that we're coming to a good place here to start shifting the conversation and winding it down. But before we do that, I'm going to ask you outliers two things. One, I want you to just take some time right now and ask yourself, like, what's one of the insights I want to leave this podcast with? I realize that as we've been having this conversation, like, there are a lot of things in this conversation that anyone can grab on and question, like, so there's some things that you can just take on and implement, and there's other things in here where I feel both of you have done a great job of opening up new paradigms of thinking, new pathways of opportunity. And I think for us as trailblazers, we're always just looking for, like, what's another path, because we're just trying to climb up this mountain without, and there's no markers here. So trailblazers, I ask, spend some time right now and just think, like, what's been my biggest insight from this conversation. Don't let this episode just happen to you, right? Take some time and slow down and see what you take from there. All right. And then my other ask is that you share this out with your world. In fact, you can join us in the one person, one conversation at a time initiative. It'd be great for you to let the majority of your world know about this conversation and some of the insights that you got from it. And then to find one person in your world who you think would really benefit from this. One person who's been having this conversation either for themselves or been wanting to have it, or has been looking to find out ways to simplify or take on more courage or beyond. And share this episode with them. I have a feeling here that, like, it's a mixture of the two. Like, letting people know it overall, but also letting people say, like, I see you and I'm here to support you. And this conversation does it. This is my gift to do that. All right. So if you have that, it would mean the absolute world to me. Awesome. So Punit, Caleb, what we're going to do right now is we're going to put outliers over to the side. They've gotten what they need to get from this conversation, and we're going to wrap up with two simple questions. All right. The first one here, I'm going to ask. I'll tell you the two questions, and I'm going to go to Punit, and then I'll go to you, Caleb, and that's how we end the conversation. So the two questions are this. The first one is, please let us know how we can go deeper down the journey with you. If any outlier wants to go deeper into your world, please let us know how to do that. The second thing, and with that one, I would say, let us know the best way. Nowadays, there's many platforms and so forth. Like, if someone's going to go there, what's the best way to do that? The second thing here is I just asked outliers about their insight from the conversation, but all three of us have been in this here, and hopefully any conversation is meant to help us grow, help to change lives, help to give us insight. And you all seem very, like, thoughtful people. So, what I would ask here is, would you mind sharing with us an insight or a takeaway that you got, if any? And if you didn't, like, that's totally fine too. But I wanted to just give us that opportunity. Going back to the idea of we often compare how we feel on the inside with how others look on the outside. And I think this would give outliers a chance to get in here a bit of how you're thinking about things inside. All right. So we can let us know about how we can go deeper down the journey with you, and then a bit of your own personal insight from it. That'd be wonderful. So, Punit, would you like to get us started on that?
Sure. So if you want to get in touch with me, LinkedIn is the best way. Search my name, Punit Bhatia. You'll find me more in the context of privacy, but you can contact me for philosophy, helping you in life, finding your values, finding peace, finding joy, or the technical solutions around privacy, AI, or data security, or even sourcing. That's how you find me, and we can have a conversation on how to help you, how to serve you. Regarding the takeaway, I think there have been many, but I'll pick two. At a human level, you go through a lot of uncertainty and everything, but listen to your heart and think what you want. When you think, believe in yourself, don't let the external world determine your beliefs, and keep taking concerted action what your heart is telling. So think, believe, and act. That's also one of my philosophies. But we discovered that through in the conversation again, re-emphasized, reiterated that it works. And when you do that, there will be challenges, whether at an individual path or as a leader. But reiterate back to what you are looking for, and don't look at I want to have this car and this house. Be a little bit more generous and think about deeply what you want to have, and then the materialistic things will come in. And as you go through the journey, whether as an individual or a leader, you'll have challenges and you'll find frustration moments, but it'll be your choice to reflect back on what you were aiming to achieve and not look at the moment but take a step back. So that's what I would say.
Oh, thank you, Punit. Thanks for being here today.
Thank you so
Caleb.
much for having me.
Caleb, why don't you bring us all home?
Okay. You can reach me at agcsparta.org. That's our church website. And there we got all kinds of different things on there that you can access, different podcasts, things of that nature. But yeah, you can access me and my church through that, and we're more than happy to be there for anybody that reaches out to us as best as we can. But one of my key takeaways for this is, realizing that no matter where we are in the world, we're all going to have struggles. We're all going to have things that are going on in our life. Uh, but as Punet said, having that determination, that grit, and knowing that our choices, our life is what we make it. And so, to a certain extent, I know we rely on faith, rely on other things, but when we have our choices, we make sure that we are doing our part to navigate that as best we can, to use wisdom, to be mature and to continue to mature. And as you can see, we've got all three of us are in different places, so we all have things going on in our life. So knowing that our life is all different, but yet we're all the same. We all have those struggles. We all have things that we need to go through, but to never quit, to never give up, keep pursuing, know what you're called to do and what you desire to do in that capacity. So that's one of the takeaways is to keep moving forward. Don't ever go back. Keep moving forward.
Well, I appreciate you all helping us all move forward. It's not even moving forward. I felt like y'all helped us step to new levels, and that's something that I really appreciate of you all. Outliers, do with this and make something of this here. And encourage you to continue following and jumping down into both Punit's and Caleb's world. With that being said, I want to just say to you all, until the next time that we talk, be you on purpose. Journey on.